Before we start off things here, I do want to quickly remind everyone, obviously, what we're here raising money for, especially, coming this from a personal perspective here. We're here raising money for Aktion Deutschland Hilft, which is Germany's relief coalition. They are a coalition of 23 aid agencies, and their members include members like the ADR, Johanniter, and Malteser, and they work together to give emergency aid, providing food, shelter, and medical aid in times of need, like, for example, when there are massive flooding catastrophes going on, like there is right now in Germany. And they always have multiple ongoing projects. They are, after all, a coalition of aid agencies, but all donations made through All Shelter Fight campaign go directly towards helping the flooding victims in the 2021 European floods. So your money is well placed, and really hope we can raise tons and tons of money with you all. Speaking of raising money, I have been watching that Super Metroid Save/Kill the Animals, and I gotta say I'm one of the Save the Frames kind of guy. So if you want to make a George happy, then why don't you donate to that? Kill is currently trailing 101 euros, with Save being in the lead with 195. So if you want to make me happy, then let's make that bid war a little bit closer, shall we? Also, if you do want to snipe the names, you still have some time for those trainer and rival names for the right upcoming run for Pokemon Gold. Now, I do want to quickly mention that if you've got any questions about the event, because, I'm kind of also the main organizer, then I do have chat open, so just give me a ping. I will get back to you. Maybe even on the mic, if it's very relevant. And if you've got any questions about the charity directly, then Aktion Deutschland Hilft actually has a international page detailing all of their, all of their projects, not just the flooding catastrophe, but everything they've done. They have a really good track record. So if you do want to convince yourself, you can head over to 2021floodrelief.live/charity, and you will be redirected to Germany Relief Coalition's website. As we are slowly getting ready here for our next run, I do want to remind people that our charity, Germany's Relief Coalition, Aktion Deutschland Hilft, is a non-profit registered association. They're essentially the equivalent of a 501c3 here in Germany. It's a registered club. We call it a club, but it's essentially a non-profit, operated like a non-profit, and that means that your donation may be tax deductible. So check with your employer and check with your local laws, and you maybe even help even further, get a deduction in your tax return, or maybe get a doubling on your donation. Alright, folks, we do have Pokemon Gold, any percent, no safe corruption by Kylovic coming almost right up. We're just ironing out with a very small technical difficulty, and then we have to run right up. So do not go anywhere. Enjoy these banging tunes. OC Remix is a blessing, by the way. And we will be right back with Pokemon Gold. This is your final chance to snipe that name bid war. Alright, folks, and with that, we've ironed out the small issue. Let's get ready for Pokemon Gold, any percent no safe corruption by Kylovic. Take it away.
Alright, thank you very much for the introduction. Right away, I am gonna need a little audio cue, so I can't give you a countdown on the timer, unfortunately. I'll just have to give you the time command. So this is for a manipulation that I'm gonna be doing. So just get ready on the timer without a countdown, unfortunately. So I'm gonna explain what's going on here just in a second. Also, I'll need the time, by the way. My bad. Also, I need the trainer name coming up. Whoever won the trainer name incentive.
Oh no, I was muted. Sorry. Trainer name is Nut.
Is that all caps or?
No.
Just capital N. Okay. So.
Yep, just capital N.
Alright, Nut. Perfect. So, what I'm hoping to get here is the trainer ID 55774. So hopefully I did get this first try. Oops, let's pack. Awesome, perfect. Okay, so that's the first hurdle. I'm glad I got that out of the way. The trainer ID is actually important for this run. I'll explain later why exactly. And basically, if you restart the game, the frame you press new game on determines the ID. So what I did is, I'm a little cheater, so I have a little timer program on my desktop, and I start that with the console reset, and then it counts down exactly 11.54 seconds, and then I hit new game. And then on that frame, hopefully, if I hit that, I get that specific trainer ID. So that's great, that can take a few tries. But they'll all be important later. It's really just important for the final few minutes. So I'm gonna pick Totodile here. The speedrun's only 50 minutes long, so it's purely for the early game, and Totodile in this game is just the best at doing the early game. That's due to a few reasons. I'll also get to those a bit later. So, I just want to talk a bit about any percent no safe corruption specifically. This run used to be the old any percent until a few years ago. when a new way of using save corruption was discovered. So save corruption is actually not anything new to Pokemon. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with the Pokemon Red and Blue glitched speedrun, where you use save corruption to beat the game in 0 minutes and 0 seconds on the in-game timer. That also uses save corruption. And then a way was discovered where you could use save corruption in this game in order to get what's called a bad clone. It's a very weird and complicated glitch, and it's also very precise. It's a very, very small timing window for that. But with save corruption, you can beat the game in about 12 minutes, give or take. But that run is not really that fun to grind out. And so a lot of people, myself included, vouched for no save corruption to become a thing. So this is basically just the old any percent, which is a lot more fun to run than the new any percent. So that's sort of the history of this category. While I was just explaining that, I already used up all my luck for the run. On the entire way from Tree Grove to Mr. Pokemon here, or actually from New Bark also, I got a total of 0 encounters, which is incredibly lucky. So, with even newer train-ready manipulations than the one that I did, you can also manipulate these grass tiles to give 0 encounters, which is not possible on the train-ready that I manipulated, unfortunately. So, I was expecting the average amount of encounters you get all the way up here is about 4 or 5, and I got 0. That is incredibly lucky. So, as with all Pokemon games, luck does play a pretty large factor in this. With encounters, especially encounter, it's really just about losing time, losing or gaining time. Yeah, I'm actually gonna kill that. Even though I'm gonna take a hit from that. No. Okay, I will take it from that, but it should be fine. So, most of the time encounters are obviously just unwanted time loss, and I'm just gonna run away from those. Every encounter usually takes about 10 seconds. It's kind of the norm. But in that case, I actually wanted to get 1 encounter, because I do need at least 13 experience extra next to the mandatory fights. And a level 2 Pidgey is actually perfect for that. And those 13 experience will come in handy in about, let's say, 20 minutes. So, that was still really good. So getting 2 encounters on the way down there is a bit above average, but getting 2 encounters all the way up and then down again to here is really strong. So, I am gonna save for the rival fight. It is kind of unlikely that I die here, but it can happen, so I'm not taking any chances. So what you also saw there was that I took off the berry. Now, Generation 2 introduced held items compared to Generation 1. And each of the starter Pokemon starts out with a berry, which is an item that can be held by a Pokemon, and it restores 10 HP if you manage to fall below a certain threshold, which in the berry's case is yellow HP. So if you're below half health, then your HP turns yellow, and that's when the berry will trigger. Now, that is a pretty neat effect, and I could also use that throughout these fights, but the thing is, I do need to keep 1 berry until the end of the run. That's very important. If I don't keep a berry, I'm not able to finish. So, I also need 1 other berry for a fight in Faulkner's Gym, and I also got the berry on Route 30. So that's 2 berries, and I need 2 berries for the run, which is why I have to take it away. So that rival fight actually went surprisingly well. I didn't get growled on turn 1, which is what usually happens, but I did get growled on turn 3. However, I do manage to get a critical hit at the end. So that fight was still really good. I also need the rival name coming up, if there's any incentives for that.
Apologies, I was looking for my unmute button. The rival name, we did not have any snaps, so the rival name will be T-Bolt, first 2 letters capitalized.
T-Bolt, alright.
T.
Yeah. Cool. So I was actually surprised during the rival fight to not get growled on turn 1. In this game, the AI is programmed in such a way that it prefers to use status moves on the first turn. So, we actually expect the rival to growl on turn 1. This will be the case with a lot of fights during the run. I'll be referring to that a few times probably. And there's another very neat mechanic for us in this game, which is that any status move used by an opponent, doesn't matter which opponent, that could be a wild Pokemon, that could be a trainer, has a 75% to hit and a 25% to miss, even if it's a 100% accuracy move. So, a growl normally has 100% accuracy, so it would never miss. But in this game, if the opponent would use growl, there is a 25% chance that it could just straight up miss, even though it's a 100% accuracy move. This is awesome for a speedrun, because it just always gives you that chance that if you get hit by a status move, you just don't. And that's especially important later, when the status moves become more impactful than just growl. But it did hit there, which is fine, again, doesn't really matter. The critical made up for it anyway. So I'm pretty happy about that centered encounter. Throughout the course of this run, I need a total of 4 Pokemon in my party. I already got 1, which is the Totodile. And then I do get a second one in Violet City, where you get the Togepi egg as part of the story. You always have to get it. And then the third Pokemon I get will be the Spearow in Goldenrod City. There's this little side quest where you get a Spearow with mail, and you have to deliver the mail to another trainer. Now, I'm obviously not going to do that. I'm not going to deliver the mail, but I do want the Spearow. And it's free and it's quick to get, so it's a nice way of getting a third Pokemon. So then I just need a fourth. And that fourth Pokemon, the only requirement really is that it can learn Cut, which is the only HM in this run that I'm going to use. Now, there is 3 possible candidates, although one's kind of out there. The first one is Sentret, which is a really common encounter on Route 29 there. So, in most of my runs, I probably catch a Sentret. And the other is a Bellsprout on Route 32, which is a bit less likely, but is also preferred choice, because we do need the Bellsprout Pokédex entry, also for later. But, again, I'm really happy with Sentret there. Now, again, I already said that I do need the Bellsprout Pokédex entry. The Bellsprout can also show up on the route that's coming up. So if I do get it there, then I can skip that on Route 32, which will be nice, but it's not required. So just breezing through these fights. These are all pretty easy fights. However, this one's kind of important because I just hit level 7, and on level 7, my Totodile learned Rage. Now, Rage is one of the main reasons why this Pokemon is so good for the early game. Rage is just completely overpowered in this game, and you'll see why in a few fights. Now, Rage just has the effect that when you get hit while you're using it, then the power increases. I think that's the description of it. Now, the power increases is a kind of a vague description. It just gets a lot stronger. I'm gonna see that on the next fight, hopefully, while I'm manipulating the spinner, hopefully. We'll see about that. Alright, cool. So that was the first instance of a spinner. There's a total of 5 spinners in this run. And they're just flat-out optional trainers. They're not required. But they spin incredibly fast in this game. Later generation spinners are actually much more forgiving than this. But dodging these can sometimes be a little finicky. So I'm glad that went well. I also called the mom via the Pokegear in that menu, which is a tiny time saver. She would call you anyways if you didn't. So by calling her there, we essentially just get rid of her calling us, and it's like a tiny bit faster, I think. It's not exactly a whole lot, but small optimizations. So I didn't get a Bellsprout encounter there, which is fine. That would have been a nice optional thing to get. So I'm gonna save here again. This next fight coming up is actually one of the most dangerous. Now, I am tracking the stats of my Totodile. And I have pretty good defense. So this Spearow should only do 6 damage instead of 8. With bad defense, the Spearow can actually do 8 damage. And it makes this fight really obnoxious. If he does 6, then I should be fine. Yeah, awesome. So, even if he crits, I think I should be good. So this is the first fight where I can show you the power of Rage. So, just pay attention to the Spearow's HP. And you can see just how much more damage Rage does with each instance. Especially if you compare that to the first time I used it. Which was like maybe 1 or 2 damage. This is totally different now. So this move is actually surprisingly good. And again, one of the main reasons why Totodile is so good at the early game. Gonna pretty much be using that move throughout the whole run. So that last critical hit there doesn't really matter. If I didn't get crit there, I probably could have skipped the heal for this fight, but it's fine. I like the safety anyways. These next 2 fights are not nearly as risky as the first one is. Funnily enough, even the leader Faulkner is a lot easier than the first guy, actually. Now, I do have pretty bad speed, which you can see here, and I'm getting bodied by this Pidgey. Which is not really ideal, but it just makes me thank my past self for healing it. I didn't talk about the Totodile stats yet, so in other Pokemon Gold speedruns, or Gen 2 for that matter, you've probably seen speedrunners manipulate the Totodile. So they save in front of the Totodile, and then they do another manipulation to always get perfect stats. Which, for a longer speedrun, like Glitchless for example, which is about 3 hours, is somewhat important. But for this speedrun, you can complete the run with any Totodile, really. The stats don't really matter. There are some small things to consider, like in that fight, with my bad speed, I got outsped by the first Pidgey. So that's something to keep in mind. If I have really bad speed, I also might get outsped by the second rival's Pokemon. Which... that would be kinda bad. But, you can manage either way. So it's not a huge deal. You can obviously manip the Totodile for this run. It will make a few fights somewhat easier, or more controllable, I guess. But you can definitely complete the run with any Totodile. So But those were two pretty useless criticals there. Critical hits are sorta... They can be really good or just straight up bad if you're speedrunning Pokemon. Obviously, every time the critical hit text is displayed, it takes up a whole text box, which wastes valuable frames. In that case too, I could have probably killed the Pidgeotto without the crit. So that critical hit just wasted another text box. But sometimes a critical hit can also save you a turn, like during the rival fight, for example. So usually I'd say the critical hits in a run balance themselves out between like the good criticals and the time-wasting criticals. But more often than not, obviously, you're probably gonna see the useless criticals. Okay, so coming up is the first really important section of this run, where I'm probably going to focus a little bit. So this is where I get the Togepi egg, which I already talked about earlier, as the next Pokemon that I'm gonna get. This is also mandatory to get, so I couldn't skip this. And then I am going to go through the whole process of renaming my boxes at the PC. Now, this is gonna look very weird, but this also obviously has a purpose. I'm not just doing this for fun. So, I'm gonna explain what exactly this is doing in a little bit. But basically, we just have to rename these boxes in a very specific way. Almost messed that. Oops! Almost messed that one up. Definitely messed that one up. Whoops. Let's try that again. Yeah, I'm taking this slower than usual because I definitely want to make sure that I don't make any mistakes here. Alright, great. So, again, very confusing looking there. But, that is very important setup for the glitch that I'm going to be doing later. So, what exactly all that does, I'm going to explain later when it happens. But that's basically for Violet. I do pick up that Paralyzed Cure Berry for safety. You'll probably skip that if you were doing attempts of this. But for a marathon setting like this, it's usually recommended to get. And so this is Route 32, very famous for this run. Because I didn't get a Bellsprout yet, a Bellsprout encounter, I do have to encounter one here, and I cannot leave without it. I do need the Pokédex entry for Bellsprout, no matter what. So I will have to walk through the grass here, get as many encounters as it takes, until I get that Bellsprout encounter. So that's another useless critical there. This Zubat here is the first of many Pokemon in this run, which has Supersonic. Now, Supersonic is a move that will confuse you if it hits. There it is. The thing with Supersonic in this game is that it has 55 accuracy, so it only hits 55% of the time. And then, like I talked about earlier, there's the clause in the game that status moves used by the opponent have a 25% chance to just straight up miss. So it's actually less than 50% likely that any given Supersonic would hit. But you do get hit by way too many. Now, I did pick up the Bitterberry earlier, which is another held item, and I equipped that during Falconer's Gym. Which gets rid of confusion once. So I do have one out for any given confusion. Ideally, I would keep that for a bit later in the run. Again, there's a lot more Pokemon which can actually confuse me. So, in an ideal world, I would keep it, but if I do lose it early, no, that's fine. So there's my Bellsprout, that's great. That took 4 encounters, I think, which is... that's alright. I did have runs in the past where I spent minutes in the grass trying to catch something. So, I am happy with 4. Now this fight, this is Fisherman Ralph. This fight is the reason why I got the extra experience earlier. The level 2 Pidgey that I killed. Because with that 13 bonus experience and this fight, I can reach level 13 before going into a rock tunnel. And that's nice, because level 13 grants you Water Gun. Which speeds up rock tunnel quite considerably. No. This is the reason why I saved before this fight. Again, each Supersonic is less than 50% to hit. So, I got hit by 2 in a row there. And then I'm also hitting myself 2 times in a row, which is another 25%. This fight's just great, honestly. Hopefully I don't die from this. Okay, great. So I did lose my Bitterberry here, just like I prophesied, kinda. But at least I didn't die. So, pretty good demonstration of what can go wrong in that fight. The Goldeen has Supersonic and Tail Whip. So, with the Tail Whip, obviously, hurting yourself in confusion does more damage also. So, it can wind up being a pretty nasty fight overall, if you get bad luck. So this is another spinner. Good. That's actually one of the fastest spinners to hit, I'd say. He only has 1 Onyx. In the past, we wouldn't always do the strat where we get Water Gun before Rock Tunnel. In that case, you'd only have Rage for that fight. And it would take ages, or it could potentially just end your run. However, with Water Gun, you just straight up one-hit the Onyx. So, he's not really anything to worry about anymore. So this is the main fight why Water Gun really saves time. In the past, we used to do this fight with Rage, which takes about 8 or 9 turns, I think. You'd actually be surprised that this fight is possible with Rage, seeing as it's a normal move, and Geodudes have incredibly high defense. But it is. Rage is just that powerful of a move. But with Water Gun, it's just a straight up 3-turn fight. A lot faster. Because with Rage, then every turn you get the not very effective text displayed and whatnot, so that fight was a wreck. So the water gun early strat just became the norm. So here's the next spinner. This is the third one, and he's stuck. This is a property that spinners have in this game. They can randomly get stuck looking in one direction. And obviously this can have a really good outcome if he, for example, was stuck looking right, which is not a direction that I want to pass him. Then I'd be totally fine, because I could just pass him for free and not have to worry about getting hit. But he got stuck looking up, which is the first direction that I have to pass him. So you just have to wait it out, unfortunately. Not anything else that you can do. So this fight's just straight up water gun spam. Water gun is actually going to be used probably just as much as Rage from now on. It's just a really strong move, obviously. If you're unfamiliar with Pokemon in general, there's the concept of Stab, which is the same type attack bonus. Which just basically means if you use a move which has the same type as your Pokemon, it does like 1.5 times the damage. So, Water Gun is usually pretty effective. On top of that, my Totodile actually has above average special stat. So, my Water Gun's actually doing pretty good damage there. Now, Rock Tunnel is another area that has seen RNG manipulations in modern speedruns of this, and you can pretty much see why. In Pokemon Crystal, I'm pretty sure you do get repels before this point. However, in Pokemon Gold, you don't, sadly. So, just gonna have to sit through this. But hopefully that should be the last encounter. So one thing I haven't talked about actually is DVs. If you're familiar with the modern Pokemon games, you're probably familiar with IVs, or individual values, which can range from 0 to 31, and pretty much they determine how good or how bad the stat growth is, or just the stat in general. DV is pretty much the same thing in this game. However, instead of ranging from 0 to 15, 0 to 31, they just range from 0 to 15. So a DV of 0 just basically means that your stat growth is really bad, and a DV of 15 means that your stat growth is really good. So there you saw the fourth spinner. That is Hiker Anthony. And he also got stuck. However, he got stuck looking up, which is great, because that just means I can pass him for free. So that definitely, made up for the previous spinner getting stuck. Probably also one of the more lengthier fights there. So quick shopping there. The super potions are just for general health, obviously, from this point on. The antidotes, hopefully I won't have to use. There are a few Pokemon coming up which can poison me, but they're just for safety, really. And then the Paralyze Heal is going to be used in Bugsy's gym. Might be used, doesn't have to be. Alright, Slowpoke Well. So, just for the backstory of the game, Team Rocket is obviously back. And this is the first instance of where we meet Team Rocket. And Slowpoke Well is a place that can usually go pretty well, or it can also just really ruin your runs. So, we'll see how it goes. There's a total of 3 Zubats in Slowpoke Well, which all have Supersonic. And during the Ralph fight you saw what a joy that was. So hopefully we're not gonna see any of that again. But I did lose my Bitterberry already, so I have to keep that in mind. Other than that, just hoping to not take too much damage from all these fights like this. The quick attack there was pretty unlucky. the more damage you take, the more you have to heal. But I did buy an extra super potion, luckily, so should be fine. I also have 2 regular potions now. So I'm stocked up on heal items, that's for sure.
Would we have
also interesting about this run is that there's really nothing glitched about this run yet. The only really uncommon thing that you saw was me renaming the boxes, but even that was just renaming the boxes at this point, so... this run is basically just a straight up glitchless run, up until Goldenrod City. But then it'll take a pretty sharp turn, so... Basically just to erase how fast you can get to Goldenrod. But I also want to encourage anyone watching, this run's actually fairly easy to do. It doesn't take too much background knowledge or anything. And I've written several guides on different speedrun routes for this, so if you're interested in this interesting run, then I would welcome everyone to join the Pokemon speedrunning Discord. Very open and welcome community. Obviously I have to plug that here. But this rocket fight has 2 out of the 3 Zubats and Slowpoke Will.
Oh, can you not hear me?
It's actually a useful critical. Nice. I was wondering about that. You don't one-shot that Rattata without it. I would really love to critical one of these, because they also die in one critical hit. That's really good. So, this is where I'll mention the technique from level 1 again. Zubats only have 2 moves. They have either Leech Life or Supersonic at this point. And the AI is more likely to use the status move on turn 1. So there you go. Supersonic is actually the expected move there. But I didn't even hurt myself. That was really good. Actually a really nice will so far. All things considered, that was pretty good luck. Okay, so this is the final rocket fight. This fight is actually somewhat weird, because the coughing has a bunch of moves that have really low accuracy. So sometimes you can just survive this fight without taking any hit at all. Poison Gas being one of those, actually. Again, it's a status move, so more likely to be used turn 1, but it has a fairly low accuracy, just like Supersonic does. But luckily, after this, we also get a free heal, so I don't have to use any healing items or one of the antidotes that I got to heal us off. Kurt is just nice enough to heal all my Pokemon by himself. So that was a really nice well, quite happy with that. So next is Bugsy's Gym. This double battle here is probably different than what you're used to. The double battles were only introduced in Generation 3, so no double battle in this game, unfortunately. The interesting part is that they have 2 Pokemon, and depending on which trainer you talk to, so I talked to the right one, they will send out the Lediba first, and if you talk to the left one, they will send out the Spinarak first. And that Lediba actually is the last Pokemon that has Supersonic to really worry about. There is one more, but I'm not all too worried about that, actually. But that was great. No Supersonic from that. So even though I did lose my Bitterberry during the Fisherman Ralph fight, I actually got really good luck considering all the Supersonics. So, really pleased with that. Now, during old routes, I would usually go right there and fight the right trainer. But that fight can take a while, because he has 2 bugs with String Shot, which can lower your speed. So you can just be stuck there at negative speed and then get even more String Shots. This fight is on average faster. Oh, that's really good. this Paras has 2 status moves. He has Poison Powder and Paralyze Powder also. Yeah, Stun Spore. There it is. And that Stun Spore is the reason why I actually buy the Paralyze heal. Because I definitely need to heal that off before the next fights. But that was again a really nice fight. Considering what can go wrong there. So, this is the last spinner in the game. Actually, no, that's better. So, Super Potion. Hopefully I can pass this guy. Great. Awesome. Alright. So that guy has 3 Pokemon. It does take a while to beat, so pretty happy I passed him. I just hit 1 of 5 in this run. That's actually really nice. I've gone through marathon runs where I hit 3 or 4 spinners total. So only getting hit by 1 is definitely below average for me. So this is the Bugsy fight, which is another fight that just demonstrates how good Rage is. Ooh, I didn't actually heal the paralysis off, I just noticed. Good thing I saved. I should heal that off. Whoops, where is my paralyze healer? I even said that I heal it. Alright. Well, good thing I saved. Now, this fight demonstrates the power of Rage. Bugsy leads with Metapod and then Kakuna. So 2 Pokemon which are just incredibly tanky. And the Metapod usually leads off with Harden, which is one of its status moves. Which is actually great, because the goal in this fight is to set up as many Rages as possible. So String Shot Miss is also nice. Hopefully he starts tackling now. Yep, great. You usually want to be at Rage like 4 or 5 going into the Scyther, which is the final Pokemon here. So, actually quite pleased that I didn't kill him there, which just allows me to get 1 extra Rage stack. Now, same thing with the Kakuna, usually just uses Harden on turn 1. Poison Sting, that's really good, so... If you would have used Harden there, I would have probably just killed him with the second Rage anyway, so couldn't have gotten any Rage stacks, but I did get a stack off of that, so that's good. Should definitely do it at the Scyther now. Ooh. Maybe not anymore, but that's also fine. He definitely can't kill me here. Oh, I do actually 2-shot him still. That's great. Alright, that was a really solid Bugsy fight as well. That gym went really well. So that's the Bugsy fight. Now, there's 2 things about this fight that make the upcoming fight even possible. The first is this evolution. I definitely need to evolve before the next fight. Which, again, just happens by beating all the required trainers. I didn't have to beat the 1 optional trainer to get the evolution here. And then the second thing is the TM that I get, which is Fury Cutter. Now, Fury Cutter is kind of similar to Rage in that it also gets stronger every time you use it, but you don't have to get hit in order to get the boost. So, Fury Cutter just gets stronger by itself. And without Fury Cutter, this next fight would be absolutely impossible to do. Because of the rival's Bayleaf. So... this is the infamous Rival 2 fight, for which I will use this Paralyzed Cube Berry that I got earlier. I'm also going to Repel, and then get my Fury Cutter up. I'm gonna teach this over Rage. I don't need Rage anymore. It did what it had to do this run. Great move. And then definitely save. So, this is definitely... by any means the most difficult fight in this run, just by all the different combinations. You can get time loss, or you can die in this fight fairly easily. Alright, so leading off with Ghastly. This Ghastly really doesn't have anything at all. The only thing that it has is Hypnosis, which can waste up to 5 turns. It has happened before. Spite is by far the best move it can use. I don't care about Morg and PP at all. And here's the reason why Fury Cutter is important. So, you can 3-hit the Bayleaf with Fury Cutter. All my other moves would just completely fail at killing this Bayleaf. I can't imagine how many... Great. How many scratches it would take. So that's one way to die in that fight. Fury Cutter is only 95% accurate. And if you miss, you lose all your previous stacks. So that's one way to die. It's also probably the most soul-crushing to die. Another way you can die there is if you get crit by Razor Leaf, which almost one-shots you. So let's see how the second goes. So Lick is fine, unless that happens, which is why I picked up the Paralyzed Cure Berry. If you were on PB attempts and that would happen, that would be a straight up reset. Doing this fight with Paralysis is just insane. Alright, so let's go for round 2. Bayleaf has Reflect, Poison Powder, and Razor Leaf. So there's Razor Leaf. Turn 1, you obviously want one of the status moves, which I didn't get. And I got the Razor Leaf critical, so that's actually the second death. I even called it beforehand. So I hope you just get the idea of why this fight is so incredibly soul-crushing. Definitely the majority of runs die to this fight alone. That's just how it is. There's Lick again. I'm really glad I picked up the berry, that's for sure. So third time's the charm. That's fine, as long as it doesn't crit, right? Okay, so now I just don't have to miss. There you go. Could be so easy. So I'm just gonna heal here. I'm not gonna take any chances. I'm just glad I got past the Bayleaf. That's the hard part. If I get confused here, I still have another super potion left. So I should be completely fine. Yeah, there it is. So this is definitely the final Pokemon with Supersonic. But, like I said, I have enough healing items here to really not have to worry about anything. So even if I help myself here a bunch, I really don't care at all. Alright, awesome! That is the final boss, as I like to call it. It's not the last fight, actually. There's one more battle that I need to do, but that is definitely the hardest fight done. The last battle that I'm going to do is actually laughably easy compared to this one. So, for the final portions here, this is the Farfetch'd side quest. You need to catch the Farfetch'd in order to get cut, which you need to progress up there. The side quest is actually super short in this game. In the remakes in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they did expand this a little bit. You have to catch 2 Farfetch'ds. But if you just follow the same path every time, like that, you can just get the Farfetch'd to its home really easily. So with the way the repels worked out, you saw me use a repel during the Rival 2 menu earlier. It wears out exactly here. And so during that turn to talk to the guy there, and without a repel. So during that one turn, I can get an encounter, which is incredibly rare. That's called a turn frame encounter, but it has happened before. So glad I didn't get that. So I'll just use another repel here. And then this is where Sentret comes into play. Good guy Sentret, there you go. That's literally the entire reason why I catch him, next to the requirement of needing 4 Pokemon. So that's Sentret's golden moment right there. And then the rest is just repelling through here. Now... the first thing that I'm going to do in Goldenrod is get the Spearow, Kenya, which is going to be my 4th and final Pokemon. And then after that, I'm going to head off to the Goldenrod Underground, which is where the coin case is. Now, the coin case usually is an item that allows you to store coins for the different types of gambling games. Each Pokemon game sort of has their own thing. But I actually don't want to go gambling, since that is that's not that interesting. So I'm going to do something different with that coin case. We'll see. So there's the Kenya. Again, it's a quick and easy way to get a free Pokemon. That's great. And then I'm gonna head to the underground here. So this is the last fight that I'm going to do. This guy right here. Let's see. Interesting fact about this fight: you can either finish this fight with 3 or 4 Fury Cutters. There's a chance that the Slowpoke dies to the second Fury Cutter here. Awesome. Nice. Cool. So that's just a 1-turn little time saver at the end here. Unless that happens. Okay. Never mind then. Can't believe I missed Fury Cutter twice. I actually haven't missed Fury Cutter in ages. I can't remember the last time that happened. Happened twice today. It's awful. But it doesn't matter. That's all I need. Alright. So, we're coming up on the coin case here. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my Croconaw in slot 4, and then I'm going to give him this potion. No, that's actually not what I wanted to do. Give him this berry. There you go. That's the berry that I kept from way earlier, remember? And then save that. So, I'm going to grab the coin case right here. I'm going to move up and then, oops, check the Bellsport Pokédex entry. This is why I had to encounter a Bellsport earlier, like that. And then check my coin case. Get ready on time. And time. So... I'll just take the credits as a quick standpoint for explaining what happens there. The coin case in this game is actually superiorly broken compared to other games. The way I understand it is that every time you actually use the coin case, it just tries to execute something. Let's say something. So then the first step to achieving this is setting up the party, which is the requirement of 4 Pokemon. Croconaw has to be in slot 4. And Croconaw's moveset is also somewhat important for this. This is why I taught Fury Cutter over Rage, for example, to get a specific moveset there. And then playing the Bellsprout Cry before using the coin case points it to the boxes. And so all those weird box names basically were just extra game code programmed into the game. And so the result of that is what you just saw. We call that a connection warp. Basically just changes where you end up on the map, which is right in front of Red on Mount Silver. And then it just completely makes your party go away. So it's not like all your you have no Pokemon. It's not like all your Pokemon are there and stuff. You just don't have any Pokemon, period. Yeah, I can.
Okay, so I may have just been in the background sitting here for like 20 minutes or so trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with Discord. And it turns out it was me all along. Sorry about that. I was trying to reach you this entire time. GG's on the run.
I was glad it works out now.
Yeah.
I actually saw the message in chat.
Yep. Turns out it was just something to do with my phone mic, I guess. But we'll get that figured out.
So is there one thing that I could just show off, like 30 seconds?
Absolutely. If you have something to show off, then go for it.
So this is just past the credits, the regular menu, and in the menu you can see that my Pokemon menu is just completely gone. So I have the Pokedex, I have the pack and all that, but I just don't have the Pokemon menu. So this is the glitch that I talked about, where you just don't have any Pokemon. And what that does, basically, you're obviously never expected to go out of New Bark Town without having any Pokemon. But if you do, the game is just programmed to instantly win all the battles for you. So even though I'm invisible, I'll try to get a random encounter here in this grass. Obviously, this just takes forever now that I don't need an encounter. Oh, there you go. So that was a wild encounter right there, but because I don't have any Pokemon, the game is just programmed to instantly give me a win over any wild encounter or trainer battle. And so, if I talk to Red while having no party, then I just instantly win the battle and beat the game that way. So this is a very fun way of beating Pokemon Gold. So that's pretty much it. That was just the final thing that I wanted to show.
Alright, thank you so much for that run. So, if people wanted to see you more, see you speedrun this game more, where would they find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Kylovic, although I do stream fairly irregularly. So I'd say don't get your hopes up, but my Twitch channel is definitely the #1 place to be. Other than that, like I said, the Pokemon speedrunning Discord is the #1 hub for all things Pokemon speedrunning. So if you have any questions, you can also find me there anytime. That's probably the best way to contact me as well. Or Twitter, in case you have any questions.
Alright, well, thank you so much for Run Kylovic, and we're going on to a short break, and then we'll have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Bye. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right back. Any final words?
I just want to give a shout out to the marathon in general. Me being from Germany as well, the cause is definitely near to my heart. And just want to give a shout out to all the staff. I think this marathon's going great so far. Really a great job from everyone involved. It's been fun. Thanks a lot.